You know, it's something I think I realized this E3. There's almost no way for me to say this without like coming off some kind of way, but I think I just like video games more than most people.
Yeah, I get that feeling like nobody ever seems to be satisfied or happy with whatever's announced. And I get that most people probably have like their own game that they're waiting for and is hyped for, and that's what defines what a good event or a good E3 would be.
Yeah.
But like none of like my games were really announced this E3, but I'm still really hype and excited for some of the stuff that was announced, like some of the stuff we spoke about in yesterday's episode, where it was the big Microsoft event full of like jam-packed reveals, and then today's stuff that we're going to be talking about in a minute.
Yeah, and I don't know. I see so many people being like, I only saw a few games I wanted to play, or like, there's nothing coming out later this year. And I have the exact opposite thought of, man, I saw probably.
When am I going to play it?
Well, yeah, when am I going to play all these games? What's up, Internet? You're tuned into a very special episode 130? Episode 129.5? I don't really know. It's 130. We'll call it 130. 130 of the PotsCast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined, as always, by my partner in E3 debauchery, Mr. Steven Radford.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. So, if you are joining us here for part 2 of our E3 coverage, you know, when we talked about it originally, right, we were like, hey, okay, day 1, we're going to cover all the stuff that happens over the weekend. The second episode that comes out on Tuesday, we'll cover Take-Two, we'll cover Capcom, we'll cover Nintendo, we'll cover any of the other odds and ends. Well, as luck would have it, none of the other odds and ends were that interesting. Take-Two...
Well, Take-Two's literally didn't exist. They just did a panel, and they, like, revealed nothing.
Literally nothing. Just, like, corporate, you know, kind of like... It felt like a GDC conference.
Yeah.
You know? Weird. Capcom, we got some updates, we got some minor stuff. I scored a point in our predictions because of that Monster Hunter news. Love to see that. But otherwise, not really too much to report, you know? So, by comparison, we had our Nintendo Direct that we're coming right off of it. We just finished it. The Nintendo Treehouse is happening right now, and it was really good. It was a strong conference, and I think rather than going over all the stuff from these other things that we're not that interested in, we decided let's just dig in, talk about 100% of the announcements out of the Nintendo Direct, and just focus our energy on what I mean, I don't know. I think whether or not it's the best of the weekend is going to depend on your preference, but I think you can easily say a conference that rivaled what Xbox and Bethesda had to show. So I think
it's the strongest, like, showing of first-party titles, though. Like, some of the stuff we saw from Microsoft, a lot of the things that were announced were, like, third-party titles that they were bringing to Game Pass, rather than, like, this is a first-party game. There was only really 2 big first-party announcements, which was Starfield and Redfall at the Xbox conference, whereas this Nintendo Direct seemed to be packed full of stuff that they've been working on.
Yeah, and I think what was interesting about this Direct is that there are a lot of things that we didn't know, you know, whereas, you know, as strong as I think Microsoft's performance was, like you said, those were really the only, like, bigger announcements. There was a lot of updates on stuff, you know, which is not bad, but I think that does leave this one feeling a little bit more hype. You know, like, there were a lot more moments where I was like, whoa, like, that's a surprise. That's a real surprise. So I don't really feel like crowning a winner between the two of them, but I think in the same way that I said that I thought that was a clear A+, I think this is a clear A+ conference. This was a strong Nintendo Direct and one of the best ones we've gotten in you know, a dog's age.
Oh, probably since the last E3. It's probably the best one since then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. This one felt like a proper E3 presentation, whereas you look at the Capcom, the Take-Two, the Square Enix stuff, didn't really feel like it. You can kind of see why Square had to have their presentation, though, now, with the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, because it wouldn't have made sense for it to be here and not then announced, but I guess they could have given it to Microsoft. But, you know, why not have their own little bit of thunder, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that much of a deep dive on Guardians wouldn't have had a place at another show, you know?
No.
You could have shown less of it, but for a game that we've literally not seen anything about up until now, I understand why they wanted to like lean into it and give us more, you know? Because that's probably going to be their biggest game this year, arguably.
Yeah, I would say, other than mobile games.
Right.
I mean, we've got. I was totally wrong about the Final Fantasy thing, which just makes that announcement of it just coming to mobile and PC even more strange and infuriating.
Yep.
But
This is exactly why
maybe they'll change their mind.
it's exactly why I said in our episode that aired yesterday, I was like, we'll see. Because I wanted you to be right, but Square does dumb things like this all the time. Like when they did that like really bad port of Chrono Trigger on Steam, and it's like, why did you do
the
this?
wrong font and like goofy ass graphics and stuff? Yeah, it's awful. There's no real good port of that game.
No.
Anyway.
Well, actually, there's one. It's the DS version. The DS version of that game is like the definitive version of it.
Yeah, but you can't really play that in 2021. That's like
you have
ridiculous
to buy the cart.
to find like old hardware and an old cart to play that game. It's so stupid. The same with like Final Fantasy VI. There's nowhere to play that as the pixel like original version. Like you can't buy it on PC. The only way you can do it is to emulate it. It's so stupid. I wish companies would like sell their games. Like people want to buy your old games, just put them up for sale.
Yeah, just make them available somewhere. But anyway, so I think we're both in agreement. Really strong showing, one of the best of the weekend, if not the best. So let's just jump into the announcements. And I think rather than what we've been doing, where we're kind of just highlighting our favorites, like let's just go through it in chronological order. There's not that much that I didn't want to talk about, so I mean, let's do it. So the thing kicked off with Kazuya from the Tekken franchise, son of Heihachi, who's kind of like the main character, coming to Smash, and we saw that his direct is his devil form, which is like a kind of another like it's almost another character that you're backdooring in your own way. Mm-hmm. This is cool. It's a weird choice. It's surprising to me that it's him rather than Heihachi, because I feel like he's like more iconic. But
I'd have picked Eddie of all of them.
Yo,
you know?
if we're talking about we could just throw any Tekken character in there. I want to get King. The wrestler, and he's got the lion, the leopard head. Yeah. That dude is my favorite.
Loved him. He was so good. No, I like Eddie with his, dance.
Capoeira.
It's so great.
I love that he just never stops moving. He's so great. Yeah,
he was always my favorite.
Yeah, it's funny. I really fell off of Tekken, but I loved Tekken when I was a kid. Like Tekken 2 was one of my favorite games on the PlayStation.
For me, it was Tekken 3. Like
Tekken 3 was great.
We constantly played Tekken 3.
So this must be cool then, right? Kazuya is like the main character of 3. He's the box art character. It was really cool.
Yeah, he is. I'm excited about this. It's strange to me that there's no Tekken game on Switch, and then this is on Switch. So maybe we'll see that come soon.
Maybe.
Because I can't really think of many characters in Smash where the game isn't on Switch or
Cloud,
like that.
Cloud and
that
Sephiroth.
Character. Yeah, but they are on Switch in that Final Fantasy VII game.
True. Yeah, you can play the original.
It's like not really, but there's no other character in there that you can't play on Switch. So I would imagine a Tekken game's coming at some point. Have we had the Bandai Namco presentation yet? I feel like that's still coming up, right? Or did we miss that one?
I feel like it already happened, or it's later today.
If it's later today, then maybe we'll see it there.
If there's any odds and ends that are relevant, we'll talk about them in the E3 Roundup episode where we do our predictions, recap, and everything. So, no big deal. But, this is cool. Like, I think Tekken is obviously a storied franchise in the fighting game community, and, like, getting a rep in Smash is really cool. We have had, like, a lot of those kinds of characters come. Like, we've got Ken and Ryu. We've got Terry from King of Fighters and everything. So feels like Tekken is kind of one of the last ones to not get its representative. And also you got Pokken on Switch. So
you do, yeah. I mean, like, maybe you could say that's a Tekken game. Can you play as him in that game?
You can't. I mean, it is a Tekken game literally in that, like, it's got the whatever, but like it's not. But I think the thing is that Namco Bandai has lineage with Nintendo, and like they made this game, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes sense for, I get why they would want to get a rep of their biggest franchise aside from Pac-Man, to have its representative. I wonder if they were the ones
Yeah,
who
for
decided
sure.
they wanted to do Kazuya, or if it was Sakurai.
I think didn't Sakurai say that he didn't make any of the decisions in the
Oh
fighters for
yeah,
this second
Nintendo
Fighters Pass?
chose the ones for the second
Yeah,
pass.
it was Nintendo, so maybe Nintendo were like, we want to get a Tekken character on here, and then maybe, Namco worked with Sakurai, or maybe it was just, this is the character we want in here, make it work.
Yeah, could be.
Guess you never know.
Guess we'll never know. But either way, I am definitely into that one. That's a good addition. So then we also got an announcement that was near and dear to my heart, which was that Life is Strange True Colors will be coming to Nintendo Switch day and date on September 10th. And then the Life is Strange Remastered Collection will be coming, quote, later this year, which is weird to me that they have the brand new game ready day and date, but that the remaster of the very old game is not ready to go.
Right, and then they announced on the Square thing that if you pre-ordered the new game, like the Ultimate Edition, you got the remasters included.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably that's not a version that's available on Switch because the remaster's not out on that day.
Unless they give you a code to redeem it at a later date, which is not unheard of.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's a bit of a shame because I kind of wanted, I've told you I wanted to play these games, and the Switch feels like the perfect place to play them. Like I could play them in bed when I'm just relaxing
Yeah.
and kind of winding down. So maybe I'll pick up True Colors on Switch and see how I feel about that one, and then I'm sure the remaster collection can't be that far behind unless they're trying to distance them because they want to, not wear people out with this
Maybe.
potentially new series on a new platform.
The only other thing I could think of is, I don't know, because like if the deluxe edition doesn't have the remaster, you might be better off just getting the deluxe edition on your Xbox, and then you'll get the remaster for free.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think the deluxe edition's going to exist on Switch. That's what I'm saying.
That's kind of what
think
I'm
it's probably
saying.
just
Is
gonna be,
if it doesn't, you might just be better off getting it on Xbox.
yeah. I
Yeah.
liked the way they revealed it though. They
With that
wasn't
little-
using the game graphics. It was like cute anime,
Yeah.
thing. And they had the two characters, and then Alex showed up as well. It was nice. It was sweet.
Yeah, it was cool. Although it does make the omission of Life is Strange 2 on Switch feel particularly egregious to me now, because Life is Strange 2 is great and it did not get as much attention.
Is that not in the remastered collection?
It's not. The remastered collection is Life
Whoa.
is Strange and Before the Storm, which is the prequel. And then Life is Strange 2 is about different characters. So Life is Strange 1 is about Max and Chloe. The prequel is about Chloe and Rachel Amber, who's the character in the original as well. And then Life is Strange 2 is about these two brothers, Sean and Daniel. And it's like a totally different story.
Maybe they should have done what they did with True Colors and gave it a subtitle rather than just a 2.
Maybe. We shall see. But either way, I'm really glad to see these games finally come to Switch. I'm a huge fan of Life is Strange, as you can tell from my Life is Strange tattoo. And I'm really excited that more people will have the ability to play it. I really, really hope that you'll take the plunge. I know you've expressed interest, but we'll see. We'll see if they fit into your schedule.
Oh, well, yeah, we will see. But I know these are the kind of games I like, and having seen more footage of it at the Square event with the choices and things, especially Alex. I don't know why. Her character seems really cool. I really like the way she's presented in the game, and her special ability seems really cool. So that might be the one that gets me.
Cool. Well, I hope you do, and then I hope you'll double back because the originals are very good. And I always thought it was weird they weren't on Switch. They're on mobile. You can play them on iOS. And I was always like, why the fuck isn't this available on Switch? Well, now we got our answer. Yeah, right. Speaking of Square, we got the announcement that Guardians of the Galaxy is coming to Switch, and it's day and date, which is really weird. I mean, maybe it explains why the game's graphical style is a little bit
Possibly, but I don't know if this is a cloud stream because did you see the little bit of TNC at the bottom where it says persistent high-speed internet connection required? So my guess is
Oh,
this is a cloud version of
interesting.
Guardians of the Galaxy, which is kind of a misrepresentation of the game and on Switch to not reveal that if that is the case.
Yeah,
But I
that's not
may be
great.
wrong.
So let me get a look at Worms Rumble coming to Switch. Didn't know that this was a game. Always liked the Worms franchise when I was a lad, but yeah, I don't know. Then we also got 2 Point Campus coming to Switch next year. We talked all
Yeah.
about 2 Point Campus on our opening night. No, that's not it. Opening night lives later this year. That's another Jeff Keighley thing. Summer Game Fest kickoff was where we saw it, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't opening night live at the like European E3 basically,
I
whatever
think
that's called, Gamescom.
I think so. Yeah. I always get it. I always get it. And the first, I've said that like twice by accident, where I keep calling
Yeah.
the first kickoff event of Summer Games Fest opening night live because that makes more sense to me for because
Well,
it's the
frankly,
opening.
Summer Game Fest live kickoff was a terrible name.
Yeah.
And he also made the mistake of saying this evening or tonight on multiple occasions when it was like, what, 10 a.m. in Los Angeles. I was like, it's not the night, Jeff. Like, come on, it's the morning.
So then we also got a look at Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, which did leak ahead of time, but I don't think all the details were leaked alongside it. It was like we heard the name, but like at least
Yeah, heard
I
the
didn't
name.
know.
We saw the box art, so we know it's coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, all of those platforms as well. And it's a remaster of Monkey Ball 1 and 2 and Deluxe, which people kind of deduced from the images that was in that retail leak. Really, really cool. I'm excited for this.
Me too.
I think the name's terrible. They used up their good name, Banana Blitz, last like 2 years ago for their really crappy remaster of that Wii game that no
Yeah,
one liked. So now we're Banana Mania, and I think Monkey Mania would have been a bit of a better
that
name
would have
than
been better.
Banana Mania, but you know,
That's
I'm
also
excited
okay.
nonetheless.
I also would have been. Then you just call it like Super Monkey Ball Collection or something. I don't know. Whatever. Um, I'm stoked. I really loved the original Super Monkey Ball, and more so Super Monkey Ball 2. That was really my game. And seeing some of the like mini games, like the billiards and stuff like that, I was like, oh, this is taking me back, man. Me and my best friend Jimmy, growing up, used to like sit and play that all the time. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Little walk down memory lane for you, if you're old like us, anyway. So then we got an announcement of what honestly might have been my favorite announcement of the direct.
It
Uh,
definitely was my favorite announcement. Now, having thought about it, I'm a little bit kind of annoyed that it's not just DLC because we made that like statement before that we kind of just want one place with all the boards and all the mini games and it's all mixed together.
yeah,
And
but
now it's like you have to think, oh, where's that mini game I like? Oh, it's on this one or this one. I've got to boot it up, and it's like that whole thing you get into when it's like, which Jackbox Party Pack has this game, and then you have to
yeah,
close that one and go to the other one.
it would be nice if there was the ability to like if you owned both of them to like have it like be kind of loaded into like a back end or something like that. I've always thought that was weird that you can't do that with Jackbox. But
Hmm.
like with this, it doesn't. I don't know. I hear that. I think the reason it doesn't bother me is that Super Mario Party is really not very good. It's
Yeah,
fun,
you're right.
but like the boards are not good. We talked about it when we were streaming it. I think the economy of the game is the worst offender. Stars don't cost enough. Like there's a lot of things about it that are just like jank and like not in like a jank's probably the wrong word. They're just like whack. Like I'm like I just don't like this choice. It's not a bad game, but like it has a bunch of bad choices that make me like it, not love it. Whereas this is literally like, oh hey, we're gonna get 5 boards from the N64 games, which everyone knows are the good ones, and 100 mini games that are across that run the gamut of those 3 games. To me, this is like exactly the Mario Party that I've always wanted. And yeah, it would be cool if it played nice with Super Mario Party, but I'll probably never touch Super Mario Party again now that this exists. I will play this forever.
Part of me is concerned that the economy side of things is still going to be in this, and this is just this is
I
clearly
hope not.
using
I hope not.
the Super Mario Party engine, and you can tell that from like the UI, and it's very similar. Like you got a star, that kind of thing. They could have well changed it to make it 10 coins a star, but I really hope some of the stuff from those old classic games are there. Party Royale mode. I hope that you've got the ability to like handicap people if you're playing with kids who aren't very good at the
Yeah.
game, things like that. All of that stuff was missing from Super Mario Party, and those are like real franchise keystones, I think. And to have that with 5 awesome boards, including my favorite, the Peach's Birthday Cake, and 100 of like some of the best mini games. Like we were watching this with people in the community, and Doc was like, "Wow, they've got the clock mini game that everyone loves." I used to love that one. How you have to set the time with like a teammate and
They had
things.
the one from Mario Party 2 where like you have to like everybody has to face a different direction and stuff like that. Like they added new characters too, like Rosalina. They showed off and a bunch of stuff. So I don't know. I'm through the roof excited about this, frankly.
Yeah, me too. I do kind of wish some of the stuff from the new Mario Party's in there though. Like I like the every character's a different dice roll. It kind of makes you play a little bit differently, and you pick your favorite character based on like the dice and things like that. That was fun. Having to unlock things, it kind of made you play it. So
Yeah.
I kind of hope some of that stuff's still in there rather than it just being like, okay, you complained so much, we've just given you everything, and now shut up and go away and play Mario Party.
I mean, I agree with you, but also if it is that, that's fine. I will just shut up and go away and play Mario Party. Thank you for giving me exactly what I've been asking for like 3
Fair
years.
point.
You know, like that's where I'm at. Like I think it would be cool if some of the innovations in Super Mario Party that I liked made the jump. But I'm just super. I feel like we're gonna play the shit out of this. I think you and I are gonna get a lot of mileage out of this game.
Oh yeah, so much. And I think it's probably gonna push my dad to buy a Switch finally. Like, especially if Waluigi's a playable character in this. I don't know if he is.
Think he is. I feel like I saw him in one of the. Yep, he is.
He is in Super Mario Party, so it makes sense.
If I'm looking at Nibble's thread on Twitter at Nibellion, who is a fucking absolute G and tweets every single announcement with screenshots. And they're the game where you stretch the face.
Yeah, which is basically like the Mario 64
Yeah.
Mario stretchy face thing, but it stays in place.
So that mini game, he has a screenshot from that being played, and Waluigi and Rosalina, Yoshi and Mario are the 4 characters playing. So Waluigi is playable.
So it's the same characters then from Super Mario Party. Rosalina's in there.
Theoretically, yeah. I remember seeing Donkey Kong at one point too, so I guess he won't be limited in the way that he was on 3 and everything. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to hear any complaints about small boards or anything like that, because these are small boards because they're from the N64 games.
No, but these boards are bigger. They're way bigger.
They seem bigger, but I don't think they are.
I think they are. I think they have more spaces.
We're gonna have to count. We'll have to get them out and count.
We'll have to count. So then we got a look at the new Metroid. This was a weird reveal. Just because they confirmed, right? Like, we're working on Metroid Prime 4, but today we're here to show you a new Metroid. And then they show us Metroid 5. And then we get a ton of gameplay, and then we see the actual title, Metroid Dread, and then we see more gameplay, and then they're like, okay, yeah, this is it. It's coming out later this year. Which, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
It was strange that they announced it as Metroid 5.
It had a weird rhythm to it, but
it did, and like I thought it was a 3D game for like a hot second, and it like I think most people thought it was a 3D game, and then it switched to like 2D.
And I think that had already like kind of been known. Like I remember hearing rumors about that, and I saw Parker tweeting about it and was like, "Oh, well, this is definitely going to happen today, but it'll still be cool." So like, I don't know. Like, I guess there was a leak maybe that we just didn't catch all of it, but yeah, I mean, this looks really good. I am like kind of notoriously not a big Metroidvania person, and I haven't really played many of the Metroid games, but I thought this looked really stylish. It looked like it moved really quickly. I saw Max tweeting about how it's like it's got like a dash. It feels more fluid. It's less like stop and go. I don't know. It looked interesting to me. I don't know that I'll
Like
love
a
it.
modern Metroid, right?
Yeah, but like it
And it's
definitely
and it's
made me
from
want
the
to try it.
yeah, and it's from the same people that did the Samus Returns remake for 3DS as well. So it kind of feels like they know what they're doing with the 2D Metroid. I think people have a bit of confidence in that. And the amiibo they announced to go alongside this looks so cool.
It is really nice. It looks fucking so cool. So
I'm
cool.
so into that the enemy design.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like a persistent enemy seemingly that is going to like chase you around the whole game and everything is like very cool. Um
You know, I and maybe it's because I played I can't remember the name of the game. It slipped out of my head, but the one where you play that monster,
oh,
that
oh,
horrible monster,
shoot.
begins with a C.
Carrion?
Carrion, yeah. I was thinking Carillion, and I'm like, no, that's not right. It's
The
Carrion.
Caribbean?
Yeah. I kind of wanted to play the enemy and like
That's funny.
do it from that perspective because it looks so fun and so cool.
The
With
way
this
it
big
moves
laser eye
is
and stuff, and the way it
yeah.
moved, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I dig this. I dig this. And I mean, I've been saying this like the whole Switch generation. I feel like this generation is the time for Nintendo to make Metroid a thing. And I
Hmm.
mean that with no shade. I know that there's a huge community of Metroid fans. I know Max loves Metroid. Like, this is not a disrespect towards Metroid, but like I've always been fascinated by the Metroid phenomenon. That like Metroid is so iconic and like identifiable by its iconography and everything, and everybody knows Samus, but I feel like none of the games have ever sold particularly well. Like Prime notwithstanding, those were pretty popular on the GameCube, but the GameCube was not a popular console. So like even the most popular Metroid game hasn't sold as well as, a Zelda or something like that. Even though I think a lot of people think of them as being on the same level in terms of like importance. So
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think Zelda sold particularly well when you compare it to like franchises outside of Nintendo platforms.
it does if you count it the same way of like exclusives. Like it sells well
Hmm.
enough for an exclusive. And Breath of the Wild was an outlier, right?
Yeah, but it's not like say Mario Kart levels
No,
of
no,
like
and it never has
popularity.
been. No. But Metroid isn't even on Zelda's level, right? So
No, it's like where is it like Pikmin level?
it's like more in that range. Yeah, it's way more akin to like a Pikmin or like a Paper Mario or one of those kind of middle tier kind of games rather than like, you know, your Marios, your Zeldas, your Pokemons when you're talking about sales anyway. And again, that's not a dig at quality or the series at all. It's just more a matter of I don't know. I feel like they've not stewarded that IP super well in recent years. It's kind of just been languishing, and there hasn't really been a hot Metroid game since Prime on the
Yeah.
GameCube. That's 3 console generations that have come and gone with very little fanfare. And also, you got to think when we were kids, there was no Metroid game on the N64 either. So it's an IP that has had long periods of dormancy as well. Um, I mean, like Fusion, I guess, was also pretty cool on the GBA. That game was really hot. But
But none of them sold. No Metroid game, according to these figures from VG Charts, has sold over 3 million.
right,
And 2.84 was Metroid Prime. Then you've got Metroid 2.73. Metroid Fusion was only 1.6 million. So yeah, it's not a big game.
no, and I think they've got a chance now to get it over and to prove to people that it is an A tier franchise that you should pay attention to. Like, motherfuckers love Metroidvanias. Like, that is a huge genre. And the fact that one of the progenitors actually both of the progenitors of that genre are just dead IP right now and, like, have been, like, kind of waiting to come back, it feels like. I feel like if this
It needs
game.
it's like Breath of the Wildification, doesn't it? And it sounds like with some of the new things they're adding with the dashes, making it,
Yep.
the new weapons, things like that, maybe that brings it up to what people expect from a modern game. Like I understand that probably part of Metroid's appeal to Metroid fans is always played the same way. This is what we want it to be. But if they'd looked at Zelda like that, we continue making Ocarina of Time over and over again, just constantly. We'd have the same game all of the time.
And
'Cause
we
since
did that
the
until Breath
3D
of the
Zelda,
Wild.
yeah, that's all it was up until Breath of the Wild. So I agree with you. I think hopefully they can continue with this 2D and 3D different versions, and it sounds like with the team they've got, that they'll do a good job and they'll please Metroid fans. And
I think so.
seemingly from what I've seen at the treehouse so far before we came on to record, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like people are responding to it well as well. So yeah, go get him, Metroid. Let's fucking do it. So then we got a montage video, bunch of, like third party things. Just Dance 2022, Cruise and Blast, which looked like a really fun racing game. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is coming to Switch on September 24th with some new content. And then we got back into the Nintendo stuff, and we got another look at Mario Golf. They announced that there's going to be free updates coming throughout the course of the game's life, and like they showed off, like New Donk City court and everything. So it seems like they're going to try to keep regular stream of content coming to the game after launch, which is good news.
I can't believe you just called it a golf court.
Course, sorry. Got
That's your
basketball
new
on
basketball.
the brain. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's your new basketball fandom.
Yeah.
Just calling everything a court.
The court. The baseball court. And then we got another incredibly hype announcement, which is a brand new Wario Ware. Let's go.
I know. Yeah, I'm so happy about this. Like, it has been way too long since we had a WarioWare game, and the fact that you can play this one with 2 players at once is awesome.
And it's coming out this year.
Right, yeah.
September
this is like
10th.
Smooth Moves was my go-to party game. We'd have people over and we'd all have a go at like WarioWare Smooth Moves and like see what the goofy mini games were. I'm so happy that Wario is not dead. I still want a new Wario Land game. Like at some point, I want a Wario Land or a Wario World game. But WarioWare, like I've been asking for it. You've been asking for it. Like I'm ready for this game, and it's like September 10th. It seems so close.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's so funny because WarioWare is a franchise I really haven't played much of. Like I played the one on the Wii, with some friends.
Smooth Moves.
Yeah, Smooth Moves. That's the one, that you were just talking about, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with that one. But like I know you're such a big fan that like when it popped, I was like, oh shit! Like let's go. All right, like let's go. I'll pick it up. Let's play.
Yeah, they're so fun. Part of me kind of hopes there's like a little mini game builder that they add. It's like a DLC or it's included. I'm sure we'll see more of it later on, where you can kind of riff on these and do it together. But you could always like remix it and like kind of do random playlists of the mini games or the micro games they call them, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. That'll be a fun one. I think we'll get some mileage out of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had online though.
Yeah, me too. But still, I think that could be one that would be fun for someone just to watch. That's the kind of thing, though, I think you need the camera on. Because I'd imagine some of the ones are going to be like make stupid poses or do stupid things. Because that was always part of it. And the fact that it's called, I think it's WarioWare Get It Together, it makes it definitely seem like this is a party game. Get friends around, just have a goofy time, have fun with it. So I'm very, very happy that this exists.
Awesome. And then next up, we got a pretty meaty look at Shin Megami Tensei 5. We got a good look at like the combat, which we hadn't seen yet. We got a good look at like the player character and like their kind of like full demon fusion form. I don't know. I don't know shit about Shin Megami Tensei except for the fact that Persona spun off from it.
Love it.
And I love Persona now, so I'm going to play Shin Megami Tensei 5 when it comes out in November, and that's going to be that. So this will be my... You said it. You said it yourself a week or two ago. You're like, all you need is a big JRPG, and you'll be set for the year, and I think this is the one.
Yeah. It's coming a bit too late, and I kind
12th.
of feel that you're probably going to want to be playing Pokemon around then, right?
Yeah. It's not a
like,
great
you really
time.
Need two turn-based JRPGs around that time, and you're going to play the one that you've got an affinity with already, Pokemon, and you know it's like the games in the franchise that you love,
I love
from that generation
Gen 4,
that you
yeah.
love. So it's like, do you really want to play Shin Megami Tensei 5?
I
But,
do though,
I'm
like a
sure they'll
lot.
be there.
I really want to
Yeah.
play Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Just
So
not in November.
not really. Yeah, I would love to play it in like August. I feel like would be great. I don't know. I got too many games on my plate right now is the problem. I think it's so funny. We joked about it in the cold open, like how many people are like, "Oh, no games to play, no games." I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Y'all need to try more games, all right? Like, branch out,
Yeah,
folks.
still
There's so many
sticking to the same
games."
stuff. Yeah. Yeah, play the next one that we're going to talk about, Danganronpa, because these games are fucked up and awesome. And if you've never played a visual novel, these are the ones that I think
They're
to
a
start
great
with.
jumping on point because they're very
Yeah,
gameplay
they're
heavy.
really good.
You know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's still a game.
Reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Danganronpa Decadence was announced, and it is it's weird. It has the 3 main games, and then it also has an additional standalone game that they've created. There's a board game in Danganronpa 3 that they've built out into a full-fledged board game that also looks like it's an RPG. I don't know. It looks interesting though. They also
And it wasn't clear, like, to me, if you could buy that game separately or if it's only part of the physical exclusive Decadence pack.
you can get it later. It says so on the again, I'm looking at Nibble's screenshots, and they have the available later this year on eShop, and it's all 4 of them.
Okay.
So you can buy a physical edition.
So it's called Ultimate Summer Camp, right? The weird board game.
Yeah, that's it. Ultimate Summer Camp. So yeah, you can get the whole thing in a physical edition, or you can get all 4 of them as standalone digital games.
Yeah, I think you about collapsed when they said physical only, like physical exclusive. You were like, what?
I was like, what the fuck? Is everyone doing this now? Like, come on.
Yeah, awful.
Not a fan of that. So yeah, that's a pretty cool one. I've only played the original Danganronpa on PSP or on Vita, but I dug it a lot when I played of it. So I kind of want to jump back in because like I don't think I finished the original. I would love to like go back, play it a little bit more, give 2 a shot.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I played it on the Vita and then never finished it. But I really enjoyed what I played.
Yeah, I got pretty far. I got a few of the murders in at least. But it's good. It's fun gameplay.
Were you at all like on the right track, do you think, as to guessing who it was? Because I remember playing that and I was like, oh, I think it's definitely this person. And then they fucking died. And I was like, got that wrong, man.
I don't really remember. It was so long ago now, you know, like I think I played it in like 2015 or 16. Like, no, oh my God. I was before that. It was when I was in college. It would have been like 13 or 14. So
that makes sense. That's around when the Vita was like hype.
Yeah.
That was when people were playing on that ancient console.
I bought it when it was already a couple years old too. Like I bought it on Amazon Prime Day, and they were doing like the Borderlands bundle, and I got it for like really cheap, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Worth every penny. Vita, right here, it lives, baby. So then we got to look at Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water, which is, of course, the new Fatal Frame. This is coming.
I don't think it is the new Fatal Frame. This is
Isn't
the
it?
Wii U port. It's like the classic Wii U port that we have to have at every Nintendo Direct.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You know what? You're totally right. I didn't know this ever came out.
Yeah, well, it's like I think it was a very rare game and like mainly in Japan, but you could like import it. But then again, the Wii U was a very rare console, no one fucking bought it, so kind of makes sense that no one bought this game. The only thing I had to say about this game was, wow, she's like definitely in the wrong outfit for this scenario.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, it's like totally makes sense that this woman fighting ghosts with a camera is just dressed like a schoolgirl for some reason. Okay. That's what we're doing, Koei Tecmo. I know people really fuck with Fatal Frame, so yeah, this is I'm sure good news for somebody.
Yeah, and if you didn't have a Wii U like most people didn't, and you're a fan of this franchise, then I guess this is the place to play it now. And It's coming out this year again. I think almost all of the games for this year, apart from
Breath
maybe
of the
the
Wild.
last announcement.
Yeah,
Breath of the we still don't even know the name of that thing.
Spoiler alert. So we got another montage with some like there was like Doom Eternal's getting the Ancient Gods DLC Part 1 is out later today. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is out on the 25th of June. And then Strange Brigade was another game we got to look at that's out later today. That was a weird choice, I thought, to show so little of that game and be like, it's out today. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and it had real like BioShock vibes in places. Like you look at the like weapons and the UI, and then like the little mini game that you used to use to hack all the robots and things. It was basically that, but you're shooting at the pipes to move them instead of just like turning them.
Yeah, but it was also like a third person like hero shooter kind of vibe almost, like co-op. I don't know. I didn't give me a good impression.
Well, I'm sure they'll show more in the treehouse, and by the time you listen to this, I'm sure you'll know all about this game if you're at all interested in it.
Yeah. So then we got, I think, the other most hype piece of news that came out of this direct, which is motherfucking Advance Wars is back. Advance Wars 1 and 2, the GBA originals, remastered it's called Reboot Camp. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, coming out December 3rd. I am through the roof excited for this as well. I love Advance Wars. You'll remember a couple years ago, if you're a longtime listener, when I was playing Wargroove and I was like going on about how much I liked Wargroove, and it was because it was an Advance Wars spiritual successor. And I fucks heavy with Advance Wars. And the fact that it's both games remastered in like a really cool, like cute toy kind of style, with some like brand new art and everything. Like, oh man, this looks great. I can't wait to play it. And I hope that the Reboot Camp moniker is teasing the eventual Advance Wars 3 that I would love to see.
Oh, it's got to be. Yeah. And, the Fire Emblem team needs something to do. Now that they've put all their Fire Emblem characters in Smash, we go have some more characters to go in there. But I'm excited about Advance Wars. This was like a real Game Boy Advance Nintendo Direct. Like WarioWare was originally a GBA game, and like he had a Game Boy Advance in the little presentation thing.
Also, I saw Zaid called this out when we were doing the shout out to Zaid. He wanted me to say shout out to him for the Shin Megami Tensei news, by the way. Shout out, buddy. Also, he pointed out that in Metroid, what was the Metroid game called again?
Hold on.
Crap. We just did this. There's so much news. Dread. That Metroid Dread, her armor looks a lot like the Metroid Fusion armor. That was also a Game Boy Advance game. And I saw Emily Rogers call that out. She was like, this felt like a very Game Boy Advance, like, centric kind of direct.
Like, they know we've reached the age where we're just spending all of our money on video games. And so they're like, shit, what else can we bring over from the GBA?
Hello.
It's going to sell to all these, like, upcoming boomers.
Yeah, right? Hello. Are you anywhere in the age range from 25 to 35? Did you used to feel happier? Well, I'll never forget. I think about this like every E3 now or every Direct. Mike Drucker is a comedian. He used to work at IGN and was like on the game side of stuff. He had this tweet a couple years ago that like I think of every time there's a Direct where he's like, Nintendo like basically has mid a career out of holding the keys to the only happy memories from your childhood. and like that's 100% the vibe I feel like I was getting served this time of like tough year, right? Tough year. Here's some GBA games. That'll make you feel good, right? Sure fucking
All
will.
they need to do now is when they're getting ready to like flog all of the Switches they've got left over for the upcoming Switch Pro, is just make like a translucent purple one and chuck like white buttons on it and make it look like a GBA, and I'll be all over it.
Chef's kiss. I'd buy that. I'd buy 10. I'll buy 10 of them. I'm crazy, Nintendo.
Or just like, do the fantastic flavors and just get all those in. People will buy those as well.
Oh, yeah. All right, so moving into the last chunk of announcements, we jumped into a kind of a Zelda rock block, as I like to call it, where we got an update for Hyrule's Warrior is coming on June 18th, right around the corner. It's called Wave 1, Pulse of the Ancients. Obviously, that's insinuating that there's going to be some more content coming later. It showed off that you'll be able to play as a guardian. Link's got a new weapon.
Mental.
Looks fucking sick. Very, very cool. And then Anuma came out to show off the new Game & Watch system. I guess apparently they're making more of these. Thought that was going to be a one and done. But they're doing a Zelda one. I thought it looked adorable. And it comes with 3 Zelda games. It comes with the original, Zelda 2, and then, of course, I mean, not of course, but I'm so happy it was, Link's Awakening. My favorite of all time. So
and the little stand thing it comes with as well, so it can sit on your dresser. It's like, wow, yeah, looks so good.
I'm definitely gonna. I think I said I was gonna do it with the Mario one, and I never did because I left it in the box. I want to take this one out, or maybe get 2 of them, and actually use it as a desk clock because it's so fucking cute.
Yeah, it would be really nice. And I just want to bring attention to the fact that Aonuma has like the best button-up shirt ever, with the just like a real little subtle Triforce or Breath of the Wild logo just on his pocket. Just just casual.
Tell you what, my man's looking good.
He looks great with grey hair.
And then we got, he was like, all right, guys, look, I know we showed you Breath of the Wild 2 like 2 years ago. All right. It's not ready yet. We're targeting 2022, which means Jason actually just tweeted this. I saw he's like, they're targeting 22, which means it'll come out in 2023. So let's all just accept that this game is 2 years away right now so that we can all feel comfortable about that. Okay. But he did come with a trailer. He fucked up my predictions, but he came with a trailer. And I'll tell you what, looked great. Loved the look of this. Because obviously the first one was cool just because it was, oh my God, there's more Breath of the Wild. But this actually showed the world. It actually showed some gameplay. We saw some new mechanics. We saw some new enemy types.
That you can kind of see though why like they started with Skyward Sword before this and ported that to the Switch now. The fact that all of this is in the sky and the way he's like falling down is sort of in the same garb as he is in Skyward Sword.
The opening shot was him just free falling from the sky, and it's like that is literally like the key piece of art that they show whenever you talk about Skyward Sword, right? It's that shot of him free falling and then he lands on the thing and flies away. Crazy.
Yeah.
This looks insane. Like the whole islands in the sky thing.
The weird water droplet thing where he like goes through rock, and then you had the like
up.
electrocution ball thing that he was like throwing as well. Really, really cool. I'm excited that we spoke about. I think I think it was Doc that wrote in and asked a question like, "What are you hoping to see in Breath of the Wild 2?" And it was really one of the things I really wanted was new skills, and it looks like they're like going into that deep.
Definitely.
And we're potentially getting like all new skills this time around.
Also, like, how fucking insane is the lighting in this game?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at the screenshots from Nibble again, and it's like, oh my God, like, stuff's just bathed in golden light, and, like, it just looks so fantastical, Like, so, like, let's go on a journey here. And I just want to get my hands on this game. I want to play it so badly.
Now I know it's like not till at least late 2022. I kind of might go back and finish my Breath of the Wild playthrough because I was having a really good time.
I want to restart it
when I was replaying it.
I decided I want to restart it. I think I know we've talked about working in like extra days into our streaming schedule in the near future and doing like solo days. I think I might just stream all of Breath of the Wild and just rebeat it.
Yeah, that works.
Y'all let me know if that's something you'd want to see. But that was that. That was the direct. Really strong, really strong showing, I think. Good pacing. There were one or two lulls in those kind of like montages where it was just like, okay, like this is fine, but it's not on the same level as everything else we've seen. But those two moments being so like short and few and far between, I feel like this was an incredibly strong direct. We went from having literally no idea what the rest of this year looked like for Nintendo, except for like Mario Golf. And now we have a really strong idea of what we're going to be doing through the rest of this year. And we've now kind of, I think, reset our expectations on Breath of the Wild too,
Yeah, and like we've got a good glimpse of what 2022 looks like as well. Because don't forget, Mario Rabbids was also announced. Like I know that was originally shown at the Ubisoft event, but
Right.
it was here too. We got a little bit more information on it, and Breath of the Wild 2, and Splatoon 3. Potentially next year is a banger year for Nintendo Switch again. And if there's a new console, which seemingly there is at some point, then like they're riding it all to the bank again.
Yeah, they're sitting pretty. Like after a relatively slow year and a half or so from 2020 or 2019 and 2020, like it feels, or I guess even the first part of 2021, it does feel like they're coming out of the gate swinging again, and that like, we know that that's how game design works. It's like you kind of ebb and flow. Like you think about the PlayStation, right? And it was like PS4 when it launched. There was like a bunch of launch titles, and then you had like 3 or 4 years where they just like didn't have a holiday game, and it was like, yeah, like Uncharted came out in the fall or in March or whatever, but like that's kind of it. And then it was like the last 3 years of the console, they had 2 games every year that were fucking huge banger game of the year contenders, from Horizon in 2017 until 2020, and we got we had a double shot within a month of each other. And then more games on the PS5.
It kind of feels like there's no real game of the year contender this year. There's just lots of nice little things that I'm excited for. The Wario Ware, the Mario Parties, the Pokemon, that kind of stuff. But nothing on the scale of a new Super Mario or a new Zelda. That's seemingly a way out. But I was also kind of surprised we didn't see any more of the 35th anniversary stuff, like the rumored collection. We know that Wind Waker or Twilight Princess can run on an NVIDIA Shield.
He said they have no plans.
Seemingly. So yeah, I know he specifically mentioned there's no other games coming to Nintendo Switch, but that could have been a bluff. We don't know, but I like to think that he wouldn't just flat out lie like that. Though.
That's my thing. Is Nintendo usually lies by omission, not by like we will lie to your face and then be like, JK, here's another one.
I mean, they have done that multiple occasions. Like we have no plans to share information on new hardware, and then next thing you know, there's a whole fucking new 3DS coming out.
But that's the thing. They say that. That's a lie of omission. We currently have no plans to reveal a new. Well, yeah, we don't have plans to reveal it right now. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We're just not planning on revealing it while you're asking us.
What was his specific wording on that then? Was it there's no plans or there are no?
He specifically said before showing off the Game and Watch thing, he said we have no plans to bring additional games to Nintendo Switch for the 35th anniversary. Yes. But you're right. You're right.
Okay.
It could, but I don't. I think that you're correct. That's
too specific. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they would have said it that way. I think they said it that way to clearly broadcast to us nothing else is coming. Like, do not.
You know what? Maybe it's coming next year though. Like maybe it's just been delayed because of the pandemic, and there's no plans for the 35th anniversary. But these games are probably coming next year. You can play Skyward Sword. You've got Breath of the Wild 2 to look forward to, and while you're waiting, here's another little tidbit to celebrate the 35th anniversary with the Game & Watch. I'm surprised there's not as much as there was with Mario. Like Mario's 35th anniversary, they went all out. They changed.
Yeah.
We had the collection. We had like Super Mario 35 on the Switch Online. The eShop changed colors, and it was all like Mario themed for a while. We haven't really had anything for Zelda yet. But then I also remember that all of that stuff came really late in the year, and everyone was like, "Are you gonna
Right.
celebrate like the Mario anniversary at some point, or what?"
Yeah, so I think that there's a chance that some of that kind of stuff comes later where they do maybe do more events, more merch, more swag, whatever. But yeah, I mean, at least seemingly Wind Waker and Twilight Princess nowhere to be seen right now. But, I think that's okay. Like, give Skyward Sword some room to breathe. I bet you they wanted Breath of the Wild to come out this year and that it didn't. And then that really fucked up their plans for the anniversary. If I had to guess.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I can imagine that would have been the case. Like, what gets you selling consoles in a year where two brand new consoles from your competitors have come out? You make a really hot Zelda game, which sells consoles and sells like gangbusters.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think one more thing I did want to say before we start wrapping up here is you were correct, Steve. Nibble has just confirmed that Guardians of the Galaxy on Switch is the cloud version of the game with no physical version planned. And that's shitty, not because it's the cloud version, but because there's literally a piece of key art that says cloud version on it. And I don't think that's what they showed in the Direct.
No, they didn't. They didn't once mention that it was in the cloud. It was only in the little bit of T's and C's small print at the bottom that you had to have a good internet connection at all times, which is how you can kind of deduce that it was a cloud version. But yeah, they did not announce that it was a cloud version, and maybe like part of that is because on the Switch Pro this isn't a cloud version, and they had planned to reveal that before E3, but then those plans changed, and so they'd already had the video prep that it was coming to Switch, and they didn't have time to change it out or something. Who knows what could have happened? But that was my theory before. Like, how do you get these games running on the new Switch and also on the old Switch? You have the cloud version on the old Switch, and you can play the game natively on the new Switch. And I still stand by that would be a good strategy for like these third parties to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a good chance that you're on the right path there. Because again, you have that very specific language, right? No physical version planned. Not none coming.
Yeah, it's always planned. Yeah,
not planned. Okay, we'll see. So, yeah, I think overall really strong Direct. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a minimum a 9 out of 10. I think it's really strong showing, and I left with a lot to look forward to. I left with a lot more confidence that Nintendo has a roadmap right now that is, able to keep them in the conversation for being the most exciting, because there's a ton of stuff going on across the fence with Xbox and to a slightly lesser extent right now anyway, PlayStation. And Nintendo's got to keep up. The Switch has had a great run so far. They said today it's 5 years in, and I think it's really been running great. It's been a good run for them, but now's not the time to take your foot off the gas, right? And I think to your point, we see a strong, and maybe not the strongest, but a strong amount of original exclusive games coming to the platform in the next couple months, and we have an idea of what next year looks like. And next year it looks like when we're really going to have a lot of the the bigger bangers coming out, like your Splatoon 3s, your Breath of the Wild 2, hopefully. So yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo's in a strong spot right now, and with the exception of maybe Xbox and Bethesda, easily the strongest of the week. So glad to see it, and I'm fucking stoked. I'm stoked, man. I love video games. Feels good. So
yeah, same here, and I know how the predictions have landed, but everyone's gonna have to wait until next week to find out who won and what game we're gonna be playing. But you can go check us out on Discord or follow us on Twitter, and you'll be able to find out ahead of time if you're that interested.
Yeah, we did post a screenshot there, and you can follow along if you want to in the E3 channel. But as Steve said, we will be back next week with the next proper episode of the PotsCast, episode 131. We'll be back to business as usual. We've got a couple things planned already, so if this is your first time joining us or not or whatever, and you want to go check that out, that will be our kind of E3 debrief episode. We'll talk about any remaining announcements that we didn't get to. We'll answer your questions. We'll talk about your favorite announcements. We'll answer questions about our favorite announcements. We will also check in on our E3 bets and predictions. I'm feeling pretty good about it right now. I'll tell you that right now. But what will happen, if you haven't been following along, is that the loser is going to have to play the video game trilogy of the winner's choice. And of course, if I win, Steve will have to make good on his promise to play the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And if he wins, I will have to make good on my promise to play the Hitman trilogy. Truly, we are both winners in this scenario, because as a loser, your dear friend will play, or you will play one of your dear friend's favorite games, two of the best trilogies of the last 2 decades, 2 generations. And, if you win...
We didn't put... the great thing is we didn't put a time on when we have to play those games. So.
Oh, no. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. If you try and pull that right now, I'm telling you to your face, I'm keeping your Stardew Valley board game. All right? So... I got leverage.
We don't know who's won yet, so let's wait and see next week.
We'll see. We shall see. So you're not going to want to miss that episode. It's going to be a good one. And please write in with your thoughts on E3. What did you think about the show overall? What are your favorite announcements? What are the questions you have for us about our favorite announcements? And then, of course, I'm also going to have it won't be first impressions at this point. I'll probably be a good way into the game, or maybe even done with it. But I've got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart right now. I've been playing it over the weekend, scattered through E3 coverage. So if you want to hear my thoughts about that, you'll want to tune in for that. And again, if you have any questions about the game for yourself, because I know I'm one of the only people in the world who has a PS5, please hit us up with your questions about Ratchet and Clank as well. It's going to be a good show next week. I can feel it in my blood, Steve.
Yeah, it will be. And I know why it's going to be a good one.
So, thank you guys for joining us here on this extra special episode of the PotsCast. I've been Pete. He's been Steve. Go follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow at LootPots on Twitter and Instagram. Come join us this Thursday on twitch.tv/LootPots, where we will be streaming some indie games from Xbox's little indie taste event thing right now. I think we're going to play some Tunic. I'm excited to check that one out. So if you want to come hang out with us on Thursday, please do. And then, of course, if you want to get some more content from us, head over to patreon.com/LootPots, where for $1, you can get our exclusive show After Dark, where we had a little bit of extra E3 conversation, as well as some just bullshitting about our lives or whatever. So go check it out. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. I hope you'll go check out our weekly podcast where we talk about all this stuff and whatever. If you enjoyed this episode, you'll enjoy the regular show. It's the same thing, but with more segments. And if you're one of our longtime listeners or a regular listener, thanks for tuning in too. I appreciate you the most. So we'll catch you next week for another episode of the PotsCast. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay sane, and I hope you enjoyed your E3 season this year. Take it easy, everybody.